tears for the tear god, salt for the salt throne, and gas the leaf tribe.
Idea that U.S. is safe country for refugees is an increasingly obvious fiction in Trump era, lawyers tell Toronto court. And this is part of an argument to have the courts strike down the Safe Third Country Agreement. And it's funny to me that people would take this position considering the idea that people spend their entire life savings, sometimes to cross an ocean, and then to march, literally march, on foot, through sometimes several other countries, to find themselves at the southern gates of the United States and pound on the gate until they're placed in a detention center. A detention center so hated by the people inside of the country already that they refer to it as a concentration camp. And these people go through all of this willingly because the United States is unsafe? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Come and hear the song of Slanesh. Hear this dirge and despair.
The Safe Third Country Agreement, signed in 2005, allows Canada to turn back most asylum seekers attempting to enter the country at a land border crossing with the United States. The deal was designed to prevent so-called asylum shopping, and it relies on the idea that U.S. and Canada have roughly equivalent and legally humane systems for adjudicating asylum claims. Stripped of the legalese and procedural wrangling, the main arguments the applicants are bringing is that if that was ever true, it certainly isn't today. Bullshit. Calling bullshit. They're saying the situation has gone from bad to worse to far worse. The United States is not presently a safe country for many classes of refugee. It just isn't true. Okay? What's happened is our system has gotten progressively looser. That doesn't mean America's got worse. Okay? They're tightening up and we're loosening up. But we're so loose. We take so many refugees and so many immigrants already. To start taking them from the United States would overwhelm our system. And guess what? That's already happened. They actually talk about it in this article, how we've lost the ability to keep up with asylum claims. And I don't have a source for this, but I do remember finding something saying that we've lost already thousands of people. We've given them asylum, and they've just disappeared into the country. We have no idea where they are now. Just gone. I'll try to find the source for that and link it here, but it's just, what a ridiculous notion that we have to start taking asylum seekers from the United States. The case puts the Liberal government in a quandary. To defend the agreement, government lawyers need to stand up in court for the U.S. asylum system under Donald Trump. For a party and a prime minister whose progressive bona fides have been taking a battering over the past year, that's a nightmare scenario. Sure, on the other hand, I can't believe it wouldn't sink them to try and, to not stand up, to lose this case and have them actually strike down the Safe Third Country Agreement. Because part of the idea is that, isn't the United States a safe place for all of the people in it? Because if it isn't, what's to stop literally any fucking schmo who was born and raised in the U.S. from just coming to the border and making an asylum claim? What's to stop them now? All they gotta do is throw away their ID and say they're not from the U.S. And that's why we have to have this system in place, this agreement in place. I want to look at this line. Conditions have worsened substantially for refugee claimants in the U.S. Well, we're not talking about refugee claimants, people who are making an asylum claim. We're talking about people who were given asylum. We have to be. That's the only way they get from the detention centers at the southern border to our border in the north, is that they have to have been given asylum, or they have to escape the detention center, sneak their way through the U.S., and then cross the border. Forget about a Safe Third Country Agreement at that point. Don't we have an extradition treaty with the U.S.? This is a person who's committed a crime in the United States. They should be sent back to face trial. And if they were granted asylum, then conditions that apply to refugee claimants no longer apply to them. And they have groups of plaintiffs, including a woman from El Salvador who says she was raped by members of MS-13 and then fled her country when the same gang began threatening her daughters. Well, then why would you want to come to Canada? Are you not aware that when the United States deports MS-13 gang members, those gang members find their way into Canada illegally, where we have no idea that they're even here, and then try to illegally cross the border back into the United States? We have no idea how many MS-13 members are here. You're probably better in the United States because guess what? When those gang members did cross the border, U.S. police picked them up. I do have the article for that somewhere. I'll find it. I'll link it. Another claimant family, originally from Syria, fled to Canada from the United States in early 2017 because they heard that the Canadian Prime Minister continued to welcome refugees. This is that infamous tweet that the media has said hasn't had an effect. And here's someone saying, oh, it absolutely did. Now, where's the hilarity here? One of the protesters or protest organizers, Janet Song, who volunteers at an agency that helps asylum seekers, said many of her clients were inspired to come to Canada by the pro-refugee rhetoric of Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. They are under the belief that Canada will protect them, and the Safe Third Country Agreement goes totally against that. Jesus, what the fuck? Trudeau, despite how he behaves and how the party treats him, is not fucking king. Just because he said something doesn't make it law. Thank God. And the law is the law. So what's really happening here is there's a Safe Third Country Agreement, and Trudeau lied to them. He tried to go totally against the law because he and you think he's fucking king. So, some of the demonstrators had timed their protest for the courthouse lunch break. Oh, a young man in a leather jacket with a hand-painted sign, USA is not a safe country. And this Janet Song lady again says, the idea of a Safe Third Country Agreement is that you are returning someone to a country that is safe. And that hasn't really played out in the last few years. The hearing will continue on Tuesday. Look, do you remember back when Trump was running for office and all those celebrities were saying, oh, if Trump wins, I'm moving to Canada? And everyone was like, what's wrong with Mexico, hypocrite? I'll believe it. I'll believe the United States is not a safe country when all of those celebrities who claimed that start trying to move to Canada. Then you might be able to convince me. Until then, go fuck yourself. Just shut the fuck up. Stay... Christ, it's actually a better country than Canada. Canada's becoming a fucking shithole.
Shred their sanity without song.
Relevant links to shit I said in the description. Maybe. I'm a twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country. At least it used to be.
They would silence us?